Hey everybody. So for this week's assignment, I read The Things They Carried, I should say, by Tim O'Brien. I read it online, so I don't have a physical copy. I don't have a physical copy with me right now, but it is incredible. Would recommend it for anybody interested in the Vietnam War. For those of us who don't don't know what The Things They Carried is all about, it's basically a collection of interrelated short stories, maybe even like little narrative pieces. Scene might be a better word, about various soldiers uh, and their experiences in the Vietnam War. It doesn't shy away from showing like the gory details, and like the moral, what's the word I'm looking for, moral ambiguity of the Vietnam War, of the combatants on both sides. Like there's one scene that really sticks out to me where the main character, who I'm just going to call Tim O'Brien, it's his name is not Tim O'Brien, but like the whole book is based on Tim O'Brien's like firsthand experiences in Vietnam, because he was a sergeant in Vietnam. um, but Tim O'Brien's author insert character is what I'm going to say. Um, his unit like kills a water buffalo and shoves its corpse down a well, so that the well becomes poisonous to the Vietnamese people who live in the village. And I that has really stuck out to me, is like, this is what brutal guerrilla wars like Vietnam do to the people who fight them. I think there's still a ton of overlap that could be taught between Vietnam and conflicts like Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria. Basically, any of our conflicts in the Middle East have a lot of parallels to the Vietnam War. At least kind of like overarching. There's a lot of complexity there too. But I would really highly recommend it for any sort of secondary classroom. Definitely, I think it's appropriate at any high school level, but for lower levels like ninth and 10th grade, you're going to have like a mature discussion about, like, we're going to be dealing with complex themes and some very gory details, right? I think I actually am going to use this in my upcoming classes. I teach 10th and 11th grade US history and US government. So obviously there's a lot of lesson plan, a lot of course objectives from the Alabama course of study that go along with it, that go along with the things they carried. There are course objectives, I think it's 16, that talks about the Nixon administration and like early 21st century problems and conflicts that the United States deals with, like Vietnam and the 60s and 70s. Obviously, I mean, the 60s and 70s, I think that's course objective 14 off the top of my head, that talks about like American political changes over the 60s and 70s. So obviously, course objective 15 and 16 for U.S. government 2, so that's U.S. government 11, is what fits incredibly well with this. I think it does. The things they carry does an incredible job kind of giving you a greater cultural context for the war, from like Tim O'Brien's lived experience, right? I haven't read this before, but I have read another one of Tim O'Brien's short stories about a soldier or someone who gets caught up in the draft in Vietnam and chooses to flee to Canada instead. So I think, I forget the name of it right now, but those two novels I think would be really, really great to kind of examine how various people's, especially young men's in the United States' reaction to the Vietnam War was, especially after the draft. Um, what? So once again, even for the 11th and 12th grade classes, I would recommend you giving your kids a discussion, or students, I should say, a discussion about the kind of the real morally complex and politically complex reasons why the United States ended up in Vietnam at all. It is not one of these, you're like, rah, rah, let's crush some Nazis wars. It is very, very morally ambiguous, and Tim O'Brien deals with that a lot in the novel. I think it is a very, I wouldn't say hypercritical. I would just say an honest analysis of one person's sort of experiences of the Vietnam War. Um, so yeah, I think that's everything that we needed to touch on right there. A summary of one of your ideas for LP. Oh yeah, so an idea I have is taking these first. I already kind of gave that to you, but just to kind of say that one more time, I would love to compare two Tim O'Brien novels, the things they carry, the one this is review is about, and the other short story that's currently escaping me, about a young man who decides to flee to Canada, and use that as sort of a way to have students examine the various ways that American men reacted to the Vietnam War, especially the draft, and how that would go on to influence the crazy political changes that you see in the 60s and 70s. All right, that was a little repetitive there at the end, but I really cannot recommend the things they carried highly enough. I would suggest you read it. It's just like a good read. The prose is very good and very fast. It's an easy read. But yeah, all right, thank you so much.